Hi everyone, this is Kevin and this is my corner. And today I wanted to thank you for everyone who gave me some solid feedback on my Power of the Primes jazz review. I got some great feedback. I'm going to try to incorporate as much as I can, but a lot of it I can fix on my end from the technical issues, but a lot of it is going to require a little bit of money. But once I get that ball rolling, I'm going to try to get better mics, I'm going to try to get a better camera, all that stuff, but that's going to take time. But for now, I want to create as much good content as I can and content that I think I love, and I hopefully that you guys would love too. So yeah, just keep supporting me. And today I want to talk about an article I read from Bloomberg News, and I thought it was a really interesting article. And if you want to read the article, just click in the description down below. I'll post a link, but I'm gonna give you a brief summary of what the article was about. So the article that I'm talking about from Bloomberg News is called "Star Wars Toy Sales Fall in 2017 as Movie Tie-in Fatigue Sets In." Now, I completely understand where they're coming from this with this article. There's been a slew of Star Wars movies. Pretty much since 2015, we've had a Star Wars movie every single year. We had The Force Awakens in 2015. We had Rogue One: A Star Wars Story in 2016, and we also had The Last Jedi in 2017. And this year, 2018, we're getting the Han Solo movie. So I can completely understand what they're talking about when the Star Wars fatigue is setting in. There's just so much toys, and to be honest, a lot of the toys are still from previous sets. I still see Force Awakens and Rogue One toys still at Toys R Us, Target, and Walmart, and they're still plaguing the shelves, but I do see the influx of the Last Jedi toys. But I wanted to read this article because not only are they blaming movie fatigue, but I think there's some interesting factoids in this article that I think is really interesting because they talk about generational shifts. They're talking about how other movie franchises are starting to promote toy lines and how the movie industry would. I mean, we've known this since the 90s and 80s as a kid growing up that a lot of the toy lines would come around movie release. And they're saying that pretty much movies aren't the big factor anymore, that kids are going to YouTube, Netflix, all that stuff to find their fix. Like their way to engage and have fun with the cartoons and the properties they love. Sure, it may not be in a toy form, but it might be in some kind of free to play game on their tablet, or it just maybe they're just so content watching the videos on YouTube of their favorite characters. But I just wanted to point out a couple of lines, and I'll put it up on the screen right now, and I just want to read through them and what I think of my thoughts about them. In this first part of the line, it says, "Call it Star Wars burnout, or better yet, movie fatigue," said Garrick Johnson, an analyst from BMO Capital Markets. "Hollywood and toy makers have fixated on toy-friendly films at a time when kids are increasingly turning to YouTube, Netflix, and social media for entertainment." Now, I consider such a true fact in my life because obviously I'm heading into my 30s. A lot of my friends and family are having kids, and a lot of them are really engaged into their tablets, their YouTubes, their Netflix, any kind of show. Now, but there's one significant problem that I think toy analysts and toy creators and makers are not considering is that sometimes a kid will like a show and not know when this show came out. Like you could take my brother-in-law, even though he's 7 years old, Junior, and he loves Ben 10, but he didn't discover Ben 10 from watching it on TV. He discovered it on Netflix, like older seasons. So when it came to buying him toys for Ben 10, he couldn't find the specific ones because, well, Ben 10 was an older show, so he couldn't find that many toys in the current market at the time. So we had to go through eBay, we had to go through Amazon, different ways to find those toys. So one, I think that's going to be a problem that I think a lot of toy companies are going to have to fix and make, because what if you make a series and it's popular on Netflix, it's popular on YouTube, and kids love these characters, and some kids come in at different times. Some discover it as soon as it was created, and some kids will discover it maybe 5, 6 years down the line. If they're fans of it, they're going to want merchandise and toys. And I think, I don't know, I feel like the toy industry needs to change a little bit in order to keep up with the times, because if video and our entertainment is now more on demand than ever, then shouldn't our products and the merchandising behind it also be on demand? Like, where was the Ben 10 online store? Where was the Ben 10 of all these seasons with all these toys that kids could just order straight from the store itself and then have it shipped to them? Because, again, like the example I just gave, my brother-in-law, Junior, 7 years old, he loved Ben 10, but he couldn't find toys at Toys R Us because Ben 10 wasn't on at the time. But he was watching that entire show through Netflix. And I just thought that would be a food for thought for that part of the article when they're talking about how kids are now engaging characters and these new IPs in different ways. Let me continue reading some more facts from the article that I thought were really interesting. I just highlighted a couple of things, but I just thought it was really interesting, and I thought you guys would like to know all these facts also. Okay, so here's another quote from the article. "More than 20 major films, including The Last Jedi, had a robust toy licensing programs last year. A decade ago, it was about half of that. Movie attendance in the US has dropped almost 14%. There are so many screens now. Kids aren't just at the movies. A movie doesn't have the same resonance as it used to. Again, this is so true. I mean, we can see this from the movie theaters because movie theaters are trying everything and anything that they can to get people to come to the movies. I mean, I am a avid movie fan. I even counted in 2017. I went to the theater 18 times to watch various kinds of films, both comic book movies, both non-comic book movies, Oscar movies, just silly action movies. I watched it all and I had a blast, but you don't see that many kids in the theaters anymore, especially younger kids. Of course, I go to the more late showings at midnight and at 11 o'clock, so maybe they can't go that far past their school days and bedtimes and all that stuff. But again, you're not seeing that many kids in movie theaters. So how are they going to get their fix of sitting down for 2.5 hours to watch this property that they may or may not like when they could just watch it at home? Because to be honest, lots of kids love that in-demand, on-demand content. And to be frank, growing up, I've always wanted something like that. I hated the fact that I would have to wake up on Saturday mornings just to see my favorite cartoons when I would want it now, immediately, and everything all in one go. If I wanted to binge all of Yu-Gi-Oh, that's what I would want. But not everything is doom and gloom. They said that Star Wars is still one of the biggest properties from last year for 2017. So Star Wars toys are selling, just not at the rate that Disney wants it. And you know Disney, if they can't have all the money, then it's not enough money and there's not enough profits. But again, I feel like it's a problem not just on the toy industry and Disney itself. It's also on where you get the toys. Target, Walmart, Toys R Us, so many places that you go. There's so much shelf warmers, and if you don't know what shelf warmers are when a toy, like a various older lines of toys or toys that didn't sell, stay sitting there in the shelves taking up space. And if those toys don't sell, the store itself isn't willing to order more boxes of toys because they already have this much sitting on the shelf that still needs to be sold. Like Commander Zavula or Counselor Zavula, I forgot what his name, but it's a Black Series Star Wars toys. I've been seeing so many for the past 3 years since Force Awakens. So many Council Zavulas, Zavalas, whatever you call it, and you can't get rid of them. I even thought of clearing out the shelf by buying all of them, wait for them to restock, and then return them all back. But again, I'm not made of money, but a lot of people have gone through those lengths to get rid of these toys because sometimes Hasbro and Mattel, they think a certain character is popular or the way that the toys come in sets, they overestimate or underestimate which toys will sell and which ones won't. So I thought it was just really interesting how Disney is still such a big powerhouse, yet even they themselves are having problems keeping up with declining toy trends. And with Toys R Us going bankrupt, I mean, Toys R Us can still turn it around just in the same way that Best Buy did, but I don't have that much faith, to be honest. And Amazon's toy selection just isn't where it needs to be yet. I feel like there could be a third competitor that is able to fulfill these promises on toy shipments for not just kids, but for adults also. Like, there's so many adults. Look at my collection. I want to know that I can go comfortably buy the toys that I want and need for my collection. And I'm pretty sure kids would want to get the exact same figures that they want or saw on a commercial, on their Netflix or YouTube videos. Now, let me read you this next part of the article that I thought was really funny. It's called Drag Down. You're already, the subtitle kind of is leading you into a certain direction, but let me just read these lines. The September bankruptcy filings at Toys R Us Incorporated, which makes up about 15% of the market, added to the challenges for Star Wars sales growth this year, though the company continued to market the toys. Visitors to Toys R Us store on Los Feliz Boulevard in Los Angeles recently had plenty of Star Wars merchandise to choose from. A whole aisle included everything from a $4 Millennium Falcon Hot Wheels car to a $250 AT-ACT remote control vehicle that walks and also fires Nerf projectiles. Tracy Gordon, a full-time mom from Glendale, California, shopping at the store, said that her 3 boys, ages from 2 to 7, aren't Star Wars fans, and even though she wore a Princess Leia costume on Halloween for years when she was younger. It's a generational thing, she said, adding that her nephews likes the toys largely because his dad drags them to the movies. Now, I thought that was really interesting because I feel like this article is trying to play on the whole generational gap, and especially when it comes to parents. I mean, I don't have kids myself, but you see it all the time where, parents will buy them like Nightmare Before Christmas shirt, or buy them Beetlejuice pants or toys or whatever, like little things that they love themselves as a child, even though the child themselves have no idea what the property is about and never seen it, and and pretty much are at the whim and mercy of their parents, which I think is fine because part of it having kids is to kind of incorporate things that you love, but obviously they're going to grow up with their own things. They're going to grow up with their own favorite properties that they're going to want toys of. And I just thought it was really interesting how Bloomberg added this part of the article into this. I mean, added this section of the article. And like, what are you trying to say here? Like, I don't understand how the author is trying to portray the generational gap. Are they trying to play on those emotions? Are they trying to say, Star Wars just isn't hitting with kids anymore? Like, your old stuff isn't relevant. I don't think that's true because I've known lots of kids, and the way that they market these toys, lots of kids love Star Wars. I think it's just hard to come by the toys that they want because, again, the whole video on demand thing. I mean, if you're watching Peppa Pig or any other kind of YouTube chain of videos that show your kid's favorite characters, and they want to buy those toys won't be available at the Toys R Us or at Target or at the Walmart because they're not in fashion at the time. Because you don't know when these kids got into these properties. Exactly like Star Wars. Some people got into Star Wars later in life. Some people got into Star Wars as soon as it was started. I mean, I know from my own reflection, I started with the prequels. There was a ton of toys at the time. I didn't buy any of it because, frankly, I wasn't that big of a Star Wars fan. I didn't become a big Star Wars fan until later on in life, where I really enjoyed the quality of the toys and the whole tapestry of the whole Skywalker saga. I really enjoyed this article because it brought up a lot of facts and details that I hadn't known before about the movie attendance is dropping by 14%, how there's a lot of Star Wars fatigue right now, that even the Han Solo film is going to have its own toy line too. Like, there's just an oversaturation right now. And I mean, that's part of what Disney bought Star Wars for. They wanted that IP and really, really push it, but I feel like they're going to burn themselves out, and then kids are not going to respond in the same way. Again, kids may not be going to the theaters anymore because they're watching other media, other cartoons, other characters on YouTube, on Netflix. Like, they have the power to decide what they want to watch and when they want to watch it. It's no longer you have to come here, you have to do this because of certain, because your dad tells you to, or because the commercial tells you to. Of course, I mean, kids still gonna love that. Like, I know people will still, kids and parents will still go to the movie theaters if the marketing was strong enough, or if the kids saw the trailer on YouTube or something like that, and it gets them wanting to go to the theater. But at the same time, we need to figure out what is it that the toy industry needs right now, and how is it that the adult collectors actually making more of an impact than kids. We need kids to buy toys, but we need to also acknowledge that we live in a different age where everything is shipped to you, everything is on demand, everything is immediate, so you can binge on it, so you can embrace the fandom as quickly as it's produced. So I don't know. I just feel like toys themselves need to figure out a different strategy, a different distribution to make sales. Because people love Star Wars, and I think this new generation of kids, they're gonna love Star Wars too. I just think that the way that Star Wars is embraced and absorbed in the movie theaters might not be the best case for younger children, or what I'm saying, like Disney. That's the reason why Disney's making their own video on demand service. So okay, they can put all their Star Wars movies on there. They can put all their Marvel movies on there. They can put and make all different kinds of shows that kids will be watching. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Again, I'm gonna put a description of the article in a description down below, and let me know in the comments. Did you like this style of a video? I've been trying to incorporate more of a relaxed, more of a enthusiastic, natural way of speaking, because the way I love to do things is to write a script, go over it with a pen and paper, and try to understand where my lines are the strongest and where it's the weakest. Because otherwise, I will put in a lot of filler words. But if this feels more natural, let me know. Let me know if you really like this style of video. If not, that's cool. I'm still gonna be doing my thing, and I'm gonna do another review of another Power Wars of the Prime toy called Dread Wind. Or I might start doing the Black Series Last Jedi toys, which the first one would be Rey in her Jedi Knight costume. So let me know what you think, and subscribe and hit that like button. I know YouTube is on fire right now, but I'm still gonna do what I love because I want to be able to create and be able to speak my mind, and hopefully you guys get something out of these videos too. So let me know what you think. And thank you so much for all the feedback on my last video about Power of the Primes Jazz. I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to try to do my best to make the improvements that are needed. So this was Kevin's Corner. Bye.